Hello, everyone. Welcome to our event. This event is brought to you by DataTalks.Club, which is a community of people who love data. We have weekly events, and today is one of such events. If you want to find out more about the events we have, there is a link in the description. We recently announced a workshop, which is happening in September. So check it out. You don't want to miss out on any future streams that we will have in our channel. So do not forget to subscribe to it. And we have an amazing Slack community where you can hang out with other data enthusiasts. During today's interview, you can ask any question. There is a pinned link in the live chat. So click on that link, ask your questions, and we will be covering these questions during the interview. Okay, so now I will open the questions we prepared for you. Do you have them too? Or you don't need this list?
Go ahead.
Okay. You ready to start, are you?
Yeah.
Okay. So this week we'll talk about doing data engineering as a remote worker, among other things. And we have a special guest today, José. José is a computer scientist who is currently focusing on data engineering, and previously he worked in different fields like software engineering, backend engineering. He likes writing, and he's in charge of a data engineering newsletter, but he will tell us more about it during the interview. So welcome to the show, José.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes. As always, the questions for today's interview are prepared by Johanna Bayer. Thanks, Johanna, for your help. So before we go into our main topic of doing data engineering remotely and other things, let's start with your background. Can you tell us about your career journey so far?
Yeah, sure. I studied a computer science degree in Spain, and I worked in several Spanish companies, and the last year I'm working in Norway. I'm living in Norway as well. So yeah, it's a quick introduction.
Oh, well, that's quite a change from Spain to Norway, right? From like very hot weather to more cold.
Yeah, that's right now it's quite good because now in Spain is almost 45 degrees.
Oh,
And it's kind of very hot. And right now we have, I think it's almost 20 degrees.
okay.
It's raining,
I see.
but
I see the benefits right now. Have you seen the northern lights yet, or not yet?
yes, I saw them.
Amazing.
Yeah,
You need to send some pictures.
yeah,
That's
I
a dream
have
of
one.
mine to see them. Which city are you in right now?
Right now I'm living in Drasvik. It's a quite a small village. And this week I'm moving to Voodoo, which is up middle north of Norway. So yeah. Oh, Alexei, hello. Are you there? Hello?
Hello. I think I'm back.
Okay.
I hope I'm back. Yeah, German internet is not the stablest internet in the world, unfortunately.
Not from here as well either. So
okay. How did you end up in Norway? What's the story? Like, did you just find a job there and relocated, or you specifically wanted to go to Norway?
in fact, we moved here because of my partner. She had a big, interesting offer to work here. So yeah, we decide to move here because both of us, none of us live outside Spain, so it's a good opportunity. and we are here.
So you work remotely currently, right? So you live in a village, and your job, your employer is also based in Norway, but you work remotely. So how is your day organized? Like, how do you do this?
Yeah, most of the days it's the same, but it depends on the working hours of my partner, honestly, because I have no working hours, specific working hours. So yeah, most of the days I have 4, 5, 2 blocks of 3-4 hours, and these blocks are splitted somehow. Depends on the things are going in the day.
Okay. So you have 2 blocks of 3-4 hours, and like you put them in some slots, right? Depending on the availability of your partner when she is not available or when she's working, right? So maybe like how strict is your schedule? Maybe like do you always work at the same time, or sometimes you work at night, sometimes at day?
Right now it's kind of it's very stable. I'm start working at 7 a.m. and yeah, the first block is from 7 to 8:11, more or less, and the second one usually goes big after that. I have a little break, so that's
So you don't have a long
right now.
siesta.
That's right now.
Okay. So you don't have a long siesta in Norway?
No, I should have. I should have, because I waking up at 5 in the morning. So
why so early?
why? Because it's good for me to not just working just right after waking up. So I need some time to wake up and warming up.
Okay.
And in
So you
fact,
work.
it's the first thing I do. It's going out and having a work.
Okay. So was it like when you found this job, was it already remote first, or you had to somehow negotiate this in your contract that you will not be able to come to the office, so you will live in a remote village and you will only work online?
Yeah, I did not negotiate the remote position, because the offer of my partner was work in several months. For several months. So we live 3 months here, in one place, and after 3 we are living 6 more in another place. So yeah, the first my first requirement was working remotely. And funny thing, it was hard to find a job in Norway, full remote. But I finally got it.
So I have no knowledge whatsoever about the job market in Norway. What usually, like, what kind of companies are hiring there? Like, do you have like typical big tech companies there, like, I don't know, Microsoft, Google, and the likes, or it's more like just Norwegian companies?
Yeah, it's more Norwegian companies. More like, I don't really know if Microsoft or Google are here. But yeah, most of the companies are Norwegian.
Can you tell us what you do?
right now, I'm working as software engineer focused on IoT platforms and handling all the current platform, which is in progress right now. And I'm heading the project, and we are two, so we have no so much possibilities.
And in what area is what exactly the company, what does exactly the company do?
It's a mechanical industry. I don't know if it's the specific area, but they usually build big platforms like fishing. I don't know the name in English either. Fishing tanks in the middle of the fjord, and all these kind of things.
I was kind of thinking like, is it related to fish and fishing? Because like all I know about Norway, I might have a very close-minded and short-sighted view of Norway, but usually I know it by fish, because like every time I go to a store, I see fish from Norway, and my impression of that, it was like, okay, probably it's mostly fishing there. And what you do is also related to that, right?
Yeah, but it's not the food area. It's more like the industry.
Okay, so you produce some stuff that is later needed for fishing. I see. And I assume that there are some sensors and whatnot, and your job as a data engineer, software engineer, to collect data from these sensors, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you are building some sort of a platform for making it easier to collect this data.
Yeah, how the sensors are currently we are developing kind of operating system for all of this.
Sorry, I stopped hearing you because I don't know, my headphones stopped working. Can you say it again?
Yes. Okay. Currently, we are developing the kind of operating system for all of the projects. So how all the things are stored and how all the data come from and come to. So.
Okay, and so I see that we already have a few questions, and one of the questions is, why was it so difficult to find a remote job in Norway? Because it seems like for a technical field, after COVID especially, like there are plenty of options.
Yeah, I thought that. But the point here, it's most of the companies I got the interview and I had the conversation, they always want me to be at least one day the week in the office. So it wasn't possible for me.
Okay.
Yeah, for me it was kind of difficult to find a job because my thoughts were okay, after pandemic situation, after Norway, it's a big country, it's very big, and the village and the cities are very they have very distance, so it's the place to work remotely, but it seems not.
And probably most of the companies are in Oslo, right?
Yeah, Oslo, Bergen, Trondheim, the big cities.
Okay, so what you needed to do is to find a company that did not require you to go to the office, and there were not so many options, right?
No.
And what about companies that are not Norway based?
Yeah, I didn't have the opportunity to go there because I found the job kind
I
of
see.
not early because it took 3 months. But yeah.
Yeah. So how do your usual daily activities look like? Can you share some challenges of working remotely as a data engineer?
Wow. The first one, I think it's the loneliness of working alone. And yeah, because I'm alone in my house, and it's kind of difficult to reach people who are not so used to work remotely, because my company was kind of okay, you are able to work remotely, but this is not the first or the core of the business. So yeah, the my college he's in Germany. So yeah, one of the biggest is the loneliness, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do to overcome this feeling?
Yeah, trying to uh it's kind of difficult. Yes, try to not think so much about it. It just work.
Yeah. Well, when you don't think about like what they say, like don't think about orange elephant, and then all you can think about is.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the phrase is a little bit different. I don't remember the exact wording, but like if you just try not to think about this, it will come back. Do you do anything else? Like I don't know, trying to. I assume in a village there are not so many things happening. Like there are not meetups that you can join, right?
No, no. I like living like this. I think it's not for everyone, because yeah, I love being alone. I really like the feeling, but I know that this feeling is not for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's a challenge, but on the other hand, you kind of take advantage of this and enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have other challenges in your work? That does not
Um,
have to be related to working remotely, but maybe like just your work.
yeah, one of the other challenges is living and working in the same area. Yeah. I usually I found out this when I was in Spain working remotely as well. It was my house was my living room was the same work as for work for living room. So it's difficult to okay, I'm just stop working and so that the laptop and I'm here. It's kind of difficult to switch
Mhm.
because it's the same space. Uh, yeah, that's a big one challenge.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Well, probably most of us understand, like when during COVID we had to work remotely and then
Hmm.
like living and work in the same space. So I was very happy to actually come back to the office. But I know many people have different opinions about
Hmm.
going to the office because like you can save so much time on not commuting, right? You just wake up, do your
Hmm.
stuff, then open your laptop, work, finish your work, close your laptop, and
Hmm.
then you have like, I don't know, 1 hour more in your day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Any other challenges?
Uh, yeah, right now. Following the last one was I usually try to split the space. yeah, it's a good approach to kind of kind of prevent this situation. So okay, I have one room and the living room, so I only have to work here. So kind of trying to block one space in the living room, and this space is only for work.
Mm-hmm. And what about challenges of your actual work? Like I imagined that you need to deal with a lot of data, because like IoT data, from what I know, usually like you have in large volumes, you have a lot of data coming from the sensors, right? So what are some challenges that are related to your work as a data engineer and dealing with this sort of data?
Well, first of all, I think it's not being in the same place where all for me, it's the first one was not being in the same place as the sensor and the data come from. It's kind of difficult to explain that. Yeah, because all my previous work were okay, just software engineer. So I just developed something, and okay, and it's kind of abstract. But the IoT, it's okay. We have this sensor, which is connected to I don't know, the temperature or it's a belt or engine. So yeah, this data come from this engine, and okay, yeah, you said that this data come from the engine, but I don't know. I cannot see this kind of electrical. I don't know if it's called electric. It's the manual or the physical thing. It's kind of difficult to explain that.
So from what I understood, maybe I'm not right. So what you mean is like the engine with all the sensors is somewhere there, like you don't have access to this. And what would help for you to actually go there and see where the sensor is placed, how exactly the data is generated. So then you have more understanding of the data, like how exactly this data is created, how it's captured, right? It would help you as a data engineer to understand better the data and then process better, right?
Yeah.
Why would you actually need that? I'm just thinking like, okay, there is some sensor you can conceptually visualize. There is an engine, and then there is like a tiny thing connected to it that sends data.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah, no problem. But for me, it was difficult. It was a challenge for me.
So yeah, I guess being on site and seeing how exactly this is all working helps to
because it
get
was
better understanding.
right now I'm comfortable with it. But at the first time it was okay. It's not related with the same as I did before. So it kind of yeah.
I see. And yeah, maybe we can talk about general data engineering, because I know that you have a newsletter and you have a website, and we have checked your website. And one of the things that you mentioned there is that if you have some data or streams of data, and you just capture this data, you just save it, and you don't know necessarily what to do with this data, so you just store it. And you say that you can show how to turn this data from just what you call a mere paperweight, like something that just you keep there, to a major asset in your business. So this is a very loaded sentence, and it's very interesting. So how do you turn data that is just out there, you just keep it, you don't do anything with this, to something that is useful?
Yeah. The first thing is to understand the business of the client or customer. That's okay. What are you doing? Okay, why are you storing this data? It's just for being a big database, or this data is coming from a big part of or a main part of the business, and after that, after understanding the business, I'm able kind of to do these transforms and all these things. I don't know how to explain that actually.
Mm-hmm. But you probably explain it in your newsletter, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm just thinking what kind of follow-up question I can ask. Well, you figured out, I guess it's related to the challenge you mentioned, right? So you said that, like, for you, it's important to see where the sensors are placed. So you want to understand the data better, right? And this is what you need to do. Like, if you have your data stored in the database, the first step you need to do is understand, like, how exactly this data is created, right? Or what's the idea behind this data? Like, what does it mean, right? And can you do it with any data? Or like, why do you even capture this data in the first place? Like, do we need to capture all the data that is out there? Or maybe first we need to understand what we want to do with this data and then only then save it?
Yeah, I think we first need to understand not all the data as are usually worthy.
Okay. So let's say we have some data set, right? Some bunch of data that we store. We think it's useful. We start keeping it, and it's been there. And we think, yeah, let's make use of this data. What do we do next with it, with this data?
I will try to explore it and see what information are there, the features and all these things. I don't know. I'm really bad at naming, so I think it's the ETL process to find what is inside the data.
But you probably also need to have some sort of business case in mind, right? Like, why exactly you create this ETL?
Yeah, that's the point of understand first the business point.
Okay, and then you just create a pipeline, an ETL, and that's it. You call it a day, and I don't know. Like, is there anything? Like, I don't know. How do you organize your work with stakeholders, for example, to show that, okay, like, here's the data set, here's some data, here's our business understanding of this data, here's our goal. We create some pipeline, and then, like, what do we do next? Like, how do we show the results to the stakeholders?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Because I'm right now in the process of being there. I'm not call myself as data engineer because it's not this as I do, but I don't know how to explain that because I'm not working right now with clients and stakeholders because I'm not working with them. So I have no right now I have no this process you mentioned.
Who do you work with? Like you mentioned you have a colleague in Germany, but you probably, when you create your pipelines, when you create this platform, somebody needs to use it, right?
Yeah. Hey.
Okay.
No.
Hello.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. I'm back, I guess.
Yeah. So what I was saying is like you and your colleague from Germany, you create a platform, right? So you somehow process this data. And then this platform is for somebody, right? Somebody needs to use it, right? So these are, I guess, your stakeholders.
Yeah. Our stakeholder right now, it's the other colleagues in the company who is the responsible for putting and connect all the sensors. Right now, it's this is the process, the current process. Yeah.
Can you walk us through this process? So let's say, like, I don't know, there is a new machine and you want to start collecting data from this machine. Like, what exactly is happening after that you decide, okay, we need to start collecting this data?
Okay. Yeah. The first thing it's we start. I don't know if it's start. It's connected to the sensor, and after that, once it is connected, my college has to register this sensor to the system, and all the system is able to collect the data and process and just processing the data. It's not storing the data right now, it's real time. So yeah, this is the process right now. I said that it's in progress, so that's the point right now, the status.
I see. So can you tell us what did you write about in your latest newsletter issue?
Yeah, not technical information, honestly. Yeah, it's more how can we use data for business. Yeah, because I don't know. The main purpose of the newsletter is to show, without being technical person, how can we get the information and profit from data.
And so how did this idea of starting a newsletter occur to
you? Good one. The idea was, okay, I'm a very technical person, and I don't like people. Honestly, it's very difficult for me to speak with other people and to speak with stakeholders as well, explain technical information for people who are not technical. So the point was, okay, I like writing. I kind of trying to explain that in writing, but it's easier for me than talking.
Okay. So for you, like, being on this podcast is already quite an achievement, right? Quite a challenge. Like, what I mean, maybe achievement is not the right word, but for you as somebody, like, it's difficult to speak with people. Yeah, you prefer writing, thinking, like sitting down, thinking first about what you want to write about, and then structuring the material, right? And then explaining it, right? I see. Okay, well, thanks for being here. I understand now that, it's, I imagine that there are many people like you Like it's probably we call them introverts, right? So I'm also an introvert. And yeah, sometimes it's hard to be around people all the time, and you need to. In your case, you decided to go to a Norwegian village and live there. Maybe it's a little bit extreme. Yeah. So you decided to start the newsletter to take time to put your thoughts into writing and explain how exactly to work with people, right? Or to work with stakeholders, how to make use of data. How do you come up with the suggestions, with the tips that you provide? Do you get inspiration from your work, or from the internet, from social media, or how?
Yeah, it's everywhere. One thing I have in mind all the time. It's okay. All what is going on around me can be a big or can be an email, because the key point of the email is not just for data itself. It's more like entertainment. It's also I working outside and just see, I don't know right now, but it's kind of, I get the inspiration from, I don't know, a rock in the middle of the fjord. And okay, I want to explain that situation somehow, that it's interesting for other people. And yeah, trying to convert or switch this history or story for into the data business, the data world. You know what I mean?
More or less.
Kind of.
Yeah. So you get inspirations from everywhere, and then like you say, okay, this should be interesting. This must be interesting for people. Let me try to work it out and put it in writing.
Yeah, maybe it's just a thing that just happened to me. Okay, that I feel, I don't know, I feel happy, I feel sad, whatever. It's okay. Trying to explain that and how we can take advantage for it in all around the data world, which is kind of difficult. But
and so you work remotely, and I'm wondering, so this newsletter that you have, do you think it helps you to put yourself out there to maybe get attention, to get more opportunities as a remote worker?
I think so. I think so. It's because one of the advantage that the newsletter has is the repetition. So every day I write an email and my audience receive this email. So it's with repetition we have confidence. So the big challenge is to get people into the newsletter.
Okay, so you do it consistently. You do it every day, right? It's
every
a daily
day.
newsletter.
Yeah, daily. Yeah.
Must be quite difficult to come up with content every day, is it not?
Kind of, but it depends because most of the days I write the email, but it's not just one email. Maybe it's an idea and I have some ideas and I write 4 emails. So yeah. It's depend.
Okay. So what you're saying is sometimes like you have an idea, but you kind of split it into multiple days, and then you start, and then like on the second day you continue until like you work it out, and then you get another idea, and you start writing about that too.
It depends.
And one of the things that I remember from the COVID times is this feeling of burnout, like when there are so many things happening, like I don't know, around the house, and then like at work, and everyone wants meetings, and like there is I need to reply to emails, and then on top of that, like if I also had to write an newsletter every day, I would probably go crazy. So how do you first, maybe do you even have this feeling of a burnout sometimes? And if you do, like how do you what do you do to overcome it?
One thing is going out. Here I'm living in the middle of the fjord, so I just got out to the nature, and it helps a lot. Really helps. Okay. And other thing is to exercise, which is very important, to try not to think about work. And that's the two things.
Previously in Spain, you also worked remotely, right? Was it also a village or it was a city?
In the pandemic, it was in Barcelona. And after the pandemic, I lived in a small. It's not a village. It's a small city.
Small town. Okay.
Small town. Yeah.
Because unfortunately, not everyone has access to nature. So not everyone lives in a Norwegian village and can just go out and enjoy like all these lakes, mountains, forests. And I saw pictures from Norway, and all of them are so amazing. And I'm kind of envious that you can just, close your laptop, leave your house, leave your apartment, and then enjoy all that. But not every one of us has access to this. So let's say if you live in Barcelona, like you don't have nature really, right? So what do you do there? Just go for a walk?
Yeah, going for a walk. And in Barcelona there is the beach. So it helps.
Right. And
I always try to live or to go near to the nature.
And well, one thing you mentioned is doing some activities like sport activities, for example. And I remember like, okay, I'm already busy. Like there is so many things happening. How can I squeeze in sports there? Like what's your take?
The first thing is I usually do it the first thing in the morning. So because I try to prioritize me before something else. So I try to do this the first thing in the morning, just waking up and going out right now, having a walk. It's I just realized it because these 3 years was just waking up and start working and have the burnout, and it's kind of difficult to escape from it. But right now I think I found out for me the what it works.
So everyone moved to a Norwegian village.
No, everyone, because
Yeah, as you said, it's not for everyone, right? So like if it's difficult to be alone, right? And then there is not so many social activities that you can do outside of work too, right? Just curious, like, do people in villages speak English, in Norwegian villages speak English, or you need to know
I
Norwegian?
usually they know English. They speak in English, but they usually speak in Norwegian. So I speak Norwegian a bit. So yeah, most of the times we speak in Norwegian, but Norwegian people when just we just um, speak. It was okay. I'm trying to speak in Norwegian, but you just turn to English because it's easier for you and it's easier for me. But I'm kind of I'm trying to improve my Norwegian sometimes. So okay, no, we speak in Norwegian, so it's no problem.
So you try to speak Norwegian as much as possible.
Yes.
That's cool, because like I've spent so much time in Germany, and still, because like everyone speaks English, I use English most of the time, even though like technically I know some German to get around. I still just use English. Okay. Well, I see that we have quite a few questions. So I want to go back to these questions, and we still have some time to cover them. So the first question I see is, which websites would you suggest to use to find remote work for beginners, for somebody who is just starting their career?
Well, here in Norway, it's there is a website which you can find all, and right now I'm using this here in Norway. It's fin.no.
Okay, so for those who do not live in Norway, it's probably not very relevant.
No.
Did LinkedIn work for you for this case, or you had to use this website?
Yeah, it worked. It works sometimes. I think I know. I'm really bad at naming. At work, there is a platform, I guess. It's a website. At work, Viewer, I think it's only one. But yeah.
I see. Well, if you're in Norway, then it's that website. I think you said find.no. And
yes, it's FINN.no.
Okay.
Fin, it's fine in Norwegian. So
I see. So then the other question we have is, what are the crucial steps in learning and doing data engineering to really master it?
Can you repeat?
Yeah. What are the crucial steps in learning and doing data engineering so that I can really master it?
What one? I'm just thinking. The
Question,
first
yes,
thing.
I understand.
Huh?
It's a very broad question, yes.
Yeah. I tried. I will say that study some. I don't know how to explain that, because a big point, I think, it's having a very technical background, and yeah, for those who haven't the technical background, I don't know.
So what do you say is you need to be a software engineer first to be a data engineer?
it will be easier, I think. I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, it's a very broad question because like there are so many steps in doing that. Well, the first thing is to have a good technical background, right? So like perhaps if you do not have experience working as a software engineer, maybe this is what you can start with, right? So just work as a usual backend developer, or I don't know.
Yeah, start working kind of with small data projects, like backend engineer or backend developer. Yeah.
So you start working as a software engineer, and then you start working on small data projects. Okay, so that's enough to master it?
No, keep going.
Keep going. Okay, that's the most important part, right? Yeah, I guess this is not what the person who was asking was really looking to get. But I think, like, if we really think about that, that's like the main idea, right? So work on projects and repeat till you master it, right? Kind of sounds simple. But yeah, what I can say is like we have an entire course about data engineering called Data Engineering Zoom Camp. And you can go there and check like what are the modules there. I think we have 6. I will not talk about these exact modules. You can go and check. But the main idea, what you, Jose, said is like just keep going, keep doing, right? And then work on a project, work on the next project, work on the next project. And then like that's the best way to master it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is no top. I think there is no master. So you can stop the progress. It's the same as life.
Yeah, right. So another question, I see a question, there is a question from Elena. Do you need to be registered in Norway for your taxes?
Yes.
So because like the company is Norwegian, you have to be in Norway to be able to work for them, right?
Yes. Although if you are kind of solid, or you have your small company outside Norway, it's the same if you work with United States or other country.
Do you have
to work here, you need to be registered.
Do you have a small company, or how do you? What's your employment setup?
Yes. Right now, I'm an employee.
So you're a full-time employee without, so just usual full-time contract, right? Okay. It's, yeah, another question from Elena is, what are the benefits of remote work? I think we partly touched that. So you get the commute time, so you don't need to go to the office and back. For you, what are the other benefits of?
Not depending or depend on a specific place. So you can work everywhere you want, and yeah, that's the biggest benefits, I think.
And for you, it means you can work everywhere in Norway where you want, or you can work everywhere in the world where you want.
Right now, in the world. Yeah, but
Okay.
it depends on your company if it allows it or not. So yeah, I've been in Spain last month, and 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I was in Argentina, so there's no problem. At least for my company. Right.
Yeah, that's very convenient. And then you also said that you need to move like every 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to have this flexibility, because you're never on the same place for long, right? I'm really curious what kind of work requires moving every 3 months.
Yeah, she's a nurse.
A nurse.
Yeah. And she's she has contract, small contract. So yeah, that's our point of view, because like that we can explore the country, I mean, while we are working. So that's the first or the biggest thing we thought. That's a good opportunity.
Yeah, that's really cool that we people in IT, software engineers, data engineers, data people, actually have this possibility of finding remote work, right? Because like for a nurse, it's not really possible to do things remotely.
Yeah, very difficult.
Yeah, very difficult. Are there other advantages?
Yeah, I think it's the one related to have more time. It's you have more time to be with your family, to do whatever you want, and that's a good benefit as well.
Yeah, and I think we already talked about disadvantages, right? Like loneliness. What else? Like being difficult to separate work from non-work. Did we talk about other things, or is there anything else you would like to drawbacks?
Right now,
No.
no.
Okay. Well, one question we always ask is if you have any resource recommendations, like book, course, whatever. You probably can recommend your newsletter, I know, but apart from that, is there anything else you can recommend on the topic of either remote working or data engineering, or maybe something else you recently discovered?
Not resource. It's not a specific resource, but for technical people, it's very handy, very important to develop soft skills and to try to improve it or improve them. I have no specific resource because there are a lot. Yeah.
So, well, soft skills is quite a broad set of skills. Would you put any specific skill and say, okay, like if you want to start working on these skills, like start with that one?
For me, talking to other people. Trying to.
Well, you're here today, right?
Yeah. I'm in progress.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a very good recommendation. Okay, even though it's not a resource, but the recommendation is nevertheless quite good. So I think that's all we have time for today. So thanks, Jose, for joining us today, for telling us about your story, about your work setup, about challenges, benefits, and all. Your newsletter as well. Yeah, so that's all for today.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for joining us today as well and asking questions. And yeah, well, have a great week.
Bye.
Goodbye.